For joining me. So, I want to discuss Anunnaki. Are they really ancient alien gods that created us? Or are they fallen angels? As I said, well, the Anunnaki was discovered, what do you call it, this history channel that we have, they push this narrative, that we were created by these ancient alien gods, the Anunnaki, or reptilians, whatever you want to call it. But are we to believe this? Or are they really, as I said, fallen angels? I will go through what, according to Zechariah Sitchin, who deciphered the ancient Sumerian text, I will tell you what they believe, what they said, what he actually found out that, and let me read John 8:44 about Satan. Are we to believe this? Because the History Channel on ancient aliens is full of lies. And it says here, you are from your father the devil, and you wish to do the desires of your father. That one was a manslayer when he began, and he did not stand fast in the truth, because truth is not in him, because he speaks the lie, Satan. He speaks according to his own disposition, because he is the liar and the father of the lie. Remember, and the fallen angels are like him, deceitful. If they want to, make it sound like they created us. But really, I want to, discuss that they're actually, in Genesis, they're the fallen angels and a bit of Enoch. Right, according to the Sumerian text, according to Zechariah Sitchin, they needed to mine gold. They come here from Nibiru because Anunnaki is connected to Nibiru, and it was in trouble, and it needed gold to come here, and they needed workers on Earth to mine the gold. When it shows that they're not really our creators, because when they came here, there was already Homo erectus on Earth. They're already human beings on Earth, Homo erectus. So they're not, our gods. And what do you call it? But they were not good enough. It says they weren't good enough, and they, as slaves, to mine because they complained a lot and rebelled. So what they did is they then genetically manipulated Homo erectus that was there already on Earth with animals, hybrids. Animals and Homo erectus genetically manipulated. And what happens is they created a half human, half animal race. So all these legends of half animals and half humans, it's true. That's the first, genetic. They manipulated the DNA and created these abominations, monsters, as Enoch, in the book of Enoch says. I think they called Ijiji, half animal, half human. But they were not good either. They were not good either to do the slave digging of the mines and stuff. So eventually they mixed their own. Anunnaki mixed, instead of Homo erectus and animals, they were not very good at mining. Anunnaki used their DNA, and they claim, and then mixed it with Homo erectus, genetically manipulated, splice, not literally had relations with them yet. And they created Homo sapiens, they claim, a bit more intelligent. But according to them, they couldn't breed. So they got, in other words, very likely died out. I believe what they're really talking about, because I don't believe the paleontologists. It's all lies, you know. How they claim that Homo erectus used to be Homo sapiens. They were giants, since 8 foot Anunnaki, and if they mixed their DNA genetically with Homo erectus, to create Homo sapiens, they should be big. Let me show you. Really, I believe it was, and they died out because they couldn't reproduce. That's what they said. Let me show a picture. What I believe that Homo sapiens really were. I believe it was a Cro-Magnon man, giants. I believe it's the Cro-Magnon man, giant skeletons of Cro-Magnon, the forgotten species, over 7 foot. I believe over 7 foot. See, the forgotten species, Cro-Magnon man. It died out because I believe they couldn't reproduce. That's a forgotten species. They don't want to tell you that. They were like over 7 foot. But so what they did then, they claimed they actually had relations with, because they couldn't reproduce the other ones, they had, eventually the Anunnaki had relations with the humans on Earth. What do you call it? Homo erectus. They actually had it physical. And then you get the story of the flood. You see what I mean? It sounds exactly like these Anunnaki are the fallen angels, because, and then they said that one group of Anunnaki didn't like them going with the humans, literally having a relationship. And then there was a flood, so you can see these. It's nothing. This is exactly what the Bible shows. They didn't create us. These are fallen angels. What they really did, as the Sumerian tablet shows, there. You see there, they claim the tree of life, but it's really the DNA strand, as you can see. What they really did is just, they knew that our genetic codes, they're the fallen angels. They didn't create us. They just messed up with our DNA, manipulated our DNA. That's what they did. And some, we have the reptilian brain. And a lot of their species that created are extinct. God wiped them out because they were an abomination. God preserved Noah through the flood. You see, a lot of these things, and what they reproduced when humans went with Anunnaki, they produced giants, exactly the same as the Bible says, as it says in Genesis. Let me read Genesis. As I said, Satan is a liar and the father of the lie, and so all the angels that followed him. As it says in Genesis, now it came about that when men started to grow in number on the surface of the ground, and daughters were born to them, the sons of the true God, they're the fallen angels, the sons of the true God, began to notice the daughters of men, that they were good looking, and they went taking with themselves all whom they chose. After that, God said, "My spirit shall not act towards men indefinitely, and he is also flesh according to the days shall amount to 120 years. The Nephilim proved to be in the days in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of the true God continued to have daughters of men, continued to have relations with the daughters of men, and they bore sons up to them. They were the mighty ones of old, the men of fame, became giants. Doesn't that sound exactly like the Sumerian text? See, they're not our gods, they're just the fallen angels. As for me, I'm bringing the deluge of water upon the earth to bring to ruin all flesh in which the force of life is active from under the heavens, because of the wickedness, you know. And you see, he preserved Noah because his line was genetically pure, in other words, because they had corrupted our DNA before the flood, you know, with hybrid races, half animal, half human. I will do more about that another part. Creating giants, you know, and then you got a hybrid race, you know, of the Anunnaki and the humans. You see, this is just all lies. Let me read also, Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 1, to show that the angels were not human, but spirits. This is here, Hebrews 1, chapter 1, verse 7. Also, with reference to the angels, he says, and he makes his angels spirits, and his public servants a flame of fire. So he makes his angels spirits. See, they're a higher race than humans. What do you call it? We're physical, they're spiritual, in a spiritual realm. It's a lie. These are not physical, they're not physical aliens living on, you know, in a physical realm. And they claim that they live on Nibiru, but they may well have left their natural abode, or heaven, spirit realm, and took refuge on Nibiru when it came here to bring judgment on the earth. But they're wicked spirits from the spirits. See, the angels are spirits. And also it says here in Jude 1, Jude 1, Jude 1:6 says, and the angels that did not keep their original position, but forsook their own proper dwelling place, he has reserved with eternal bonds until dense darkness for the judgment of the great day. They forsook their natural dwelling place position. They left the spiritual realm of heaven to come to earth, and God has reserved judgment on them. You see, they're not. They seem like physical aliens to the past, to the ancient people when they came down, but they came out of the spiritual realm, their demonic spirit realm, the spiritual realm. They left and came here. And also 2 Peter 2 says, and he did not hold back from punishing an ancient world, but kept Noah, a preacher of righteousness, safe with 7 others, when he brought a deluge upon the world of ungodly men. And it goes on to say, and certainly and God did not hold back from punishing the angels that sinned. How did they sin? Because they went with physical women. But that by throwing them into Tartarus, delivered them to the pits of dense darkness, to be reserved for judgment. I think Tartarus is the lowest part of the abyss, reserved for judgment. See, it's all a lie, you know. They're not physical aliens that created us. They just manipulated our DNA, and they came from the spirit realm. They forsook the spirit realm, and the book of Enoch elaborates, gives more detail, and I will read a little clip. The Anunnaki are nothing more than the fallen angels, not ancient alien gods. This is a little clip from the Enoch, elaborates more detail than Genesis. The first section of the book, Enoch, depicts the interaction of the fallen angels with mankind. Semjaza was the leader, compels the other 199 fallen angels to take human wives to beget us children. This is what it says. And Semjaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed. I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath and all bind ourselves by mutual interactions, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swear they all together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they were in all 200, who descended in the days of Jad on the summit of Mount Hormon. So they all agreed to take the punishment, and they called it Mount Hermon, because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they named the leaders, Samjaza, and a whole lot of the result in the creation of the Nephilim, Genesis, or Anak, giants, as they are described in the book, and it's what they says in Enoch. And they became pregnant, and the women of earth, and they bare great giants. That's exactly what happened in the when the Anunnaki went with human women. They became giants. So you see, it's just the same. They're not ancient aliens, but from the spirit realm, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, in other words, they gave them food, they ran out. The giants turned against them and devoured mankind after they ate all the animals. So they were cannibalistic, and they began to sin against the birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. It also discusses the teachings of humans by the fallen angels, as Zazel. They taught them a lot of advanced technology, and wisdom, that God would not have allowed. And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth. You see, not all of them is good, because they used these swords and knives to kill, you see. Not a lot of technology is good or advancement. And the arts of working with metals and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony and cosmetics, beautifying the eyelids and all the costly stones and colouring. And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. And some jars taught enchantments, magic and root cutting, enchantments, and taught astrology, or Maros, the resolving of enchantments. Barak taught astrology, Quebec Bell, the constellations, Azaquil, the knowledge of the clouds, Araquil, the signs of the earth, and the signs of the sun, and the course of the moon. And then this is Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel appealed to God to judge the inhabitants of the world and the fallen angels. And then it carries on, and Uriel is then sent by God to tell Noah of the coming cataclysm to destroy them, these giants, and the fallen angels will be judged in a flood. You see, so basically, as I said, these Anunnaki are the same ones in you know, in the Bible of Genesis, the sons of gods who left heaven, the third heaven, the natural abode, and came to earth and had relations with human women. They didn't create man, they just genetically manipulated our DNA, eventually creating giants and demigods and hybrids. Because of the wickedness, God destroyed the earth. It's the same story in the book of Enoch, you know, the Watchers, 200, that came down and went with women. It's the same story. So whoever says that, that our alien gods, they created us, it's not true. There was already Homo erectus on the earth. So that, God made man already. There was already life there. They didn't make life from nothing. Well, ancients thought they were alien gods, but really from the spiritual realm. They looked like gods because they imparted knowledge, and they had the power of shape-shifting to any form, because in heaven, angels are giants. They tower above, they're bigger than some of the biggest giants. But when they come here, they, materialized into human form, and that's why they could appear human and have relations with women. They seem like aliens, from another planet. But they left their abode. They might be living on Nibiru in our realm because they've left their natural abode and they're not allowed back. They really have evil intent. They're deceivers as followers of Satan. Remember, Satan is the father of the lie. This is in 2 Ephesians, the ruler who exercises authority over the lower heavens. Spirit. Now, disobedient spirit. They imparted advanced wisdom and knowledge before the flood came and destroyed them. Obviously, creating many false, imparting a lot of wisdom and knowledge, advanced technology that God forbade, and creating many false religions. So, hope you like the video, and don't fall for these ancient aliens that will return. They're friends. When God kicks out the Satan and the angels from heaven, they will be cast down to earth. Very likely release the 200 that are locked up in Tartarus. So don't believe it. This is an ancient alien lie. And get these history channel that promoting this lie, and books and films. I'll probably do more about this. But anyway, if you haven't come to know Christ, please do. And put faith in Christ is the only salvation, as it says in Romans 10. This is it. The scripture says, none that rests his faith on him will be disappointed, as Christ. For there is no distinction between Jew and Greek, for there is the same Lord, all who is rich to all. This is it. For there is the same Lord over all, who is rich to all those calling upon his name. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord, is Yeshua, Mashiach, will be saved. Anyway, hope you like that video, and God bless.